Yo, what's up? Thanks for checking out the Paycheck to Profit podcast. I'm your host, Robert Johnson. Today I'm joined with Ismael Arceo. Really excited to get a chance to kick it around with him today. You know, we've had a lot of conversations. He's in my neighborhood and we're doing a lot of the same things. So really excited to get him on and talk through what he's doing, how he was able to take so many things that he's doing on the side and get a step away from his W-2 and what that looks like and really dig into that. So, Ismael, thanks for jumping on the show, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. So yeah, we met in Chehalis. It's kind of crazy. So being in a small town, you don't really meet people like a lot crazy. You got to really be, in the mix.
Yeah.
And so, or better said, I like to go to Olympia, like to cities to do stuff. So there was a meetup in my backyard,
Yeah.
which was already crazy to begin with. And then, meeting you and meeting, yeah, man, we got, it's crazy how it worked, but for sure.
Yeah, man, that was what, like 8 months ago or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
It was still sunny
summertime.
outside.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
man, why don't we haven't talked about it in a little bit, but why don't you just kind of share a little bit more about what you were doing in your W-2 and
After a while, though, right, you start to feel like, man, I'm turning my wheels here. Like I've hit the top and this is not where like my vision is. And so, started to learn different things, bro. So literally it started with a search, how to make $10,000 quickly, how to make
Nice.
$100,000 in a month kind of thing. And that's where I discovered like, wholesaling and option trading. And, I've done music. So I've always kind of been like in sales and business and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much what got me into knowing like, okay, what do I get into? Real estate, right? And plus, you've heard the term 70% of the millionaires are made in real estate, something like that.
Yeah.
And whether that's true or not, right? I believed it. So I was like, hey, man, say less,
Right.
So anyways, I was working at the restaurant, wasn't really making any money there. So my play was, while I was not at work, if I wasn't making music, I was learning real estate or, learning trading. And the thing about learning trading is you only learn by losing money, right? So that sucked for a little bit too, right? Like the first 2 years, I'd say were really, really bad. I burned through 2 accounts kind of thing, right? But anyways, so just had to learn, bro. Just had to keep going. And so I joined SubTo, which is right how we met in 2020. Now here's the thing. I remember seeing there wasn't even 1,000 people in the group, bro.
Yeah, I didn't know
And
you
so
joined so long ago.
yeah, you guys can, check the proof and all that. So 2020, I'm in there and, I remember seeing a house around here that was like for sale by owner. Call them. And now, mind you, this shows you the mindset. It's terrible when you're early, bro. So I'm thinking, oh, 0% interest is what people are doing. They're going crazy. This lady had a house. All she wanted was like 15,000 down. And here, not a bad deal and all she was asking was 4% interest. But that was when the market was at 2%, right?
Yeah,
so I was
sure.
like, walked away. Looking back, I'm like, dude, what an easy swoop of a deal I missed out on, right? So, but 2020 happened, and so that happened. I felt I got lucky, and I was still, really into music. Didn't really do real estate like that, but I was always like learning, just kind of like just taking in the info. Honestly, mental masturbation, bro. Let's call it what it was, right? Honestly,
Playing the slow game
and
on
so. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And so then 2021 happens, right? So now, mind you, I always have like real estate in the back of my head because my life is never at where I wanted it to be at till lately, right? And so I'm always having this thing in my head. 2021 rolls around. I decide to run Facebook ads because at this point I've done successful ads for like my beats. So I make like a bunch of music
Okay.
and whatnot. So I was selling beats on Facebook. Had run like a couple things that I was like, okay, I could probably do this. So ran some ads, totally fell on my face, bro. I lost like a lot of bread, like pretty much all the bread I had at that time.
Mm.
And so I was like, okay, took that out the window. Okay. 2020, now mind you, because I'm here, like I'm working at the restaurant, minimum wage, saving my money penny by penny to do
Sure.
things again, kind of thing, right? So 2022 rolls around. I drove for dollars for a little bit because I was like hungry. And then, but my time is short, so it's at night, so it's not really what you're trying to do.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I then hired Start Virtual. Okay. So
Oh, you
Start
did?
Virtual is the
Yeah.
VAs. Yeah, for sure. And so I think they were good. It was just, it comes down to me and like the timing. Like my thing was I was at work a lot, right? And if I wasn't doing that, I'm passionate in music. I have a little following, so it's easy to fall back. So Start Virtual goes down. I lose like 5 Gs, no deals. Boom. Oh man. Now that was that was 22, I think. I don't even think it was 23. But so then November rolls around of 22, right? And bro, I'm flat. I'm like flat broke. I'm like officially in the red, right? I'm officially like owing money. And it was just like it was a crazy time. So that's when I was like, okay, I know enough. Like I've talked to sellers, I'm like I know how to talk to people. I'm just scared, bro. It's been one of my biggest things. I feel is like that imposter syndrome. So
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm just like, I'm scared, whatever. So I just one day I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like I can't afford this, but then I heard, but I can't afford not to, right?
Mm-mm.
So I ran ads again with a positive mindset. Now this is where I truly believe something people should know. So like, they say what you put energy towards, you go ahead and grow. But that's true.
Yeah.
So even if you're thinking like, oh man, let's, I hope this campaign does well, that's not positive energy,
It's not
right?
very positive. Yeah. You're
Right.
doubting
You got to
yourself.
be like, dude,
Yeah.
this ad, I came up with this genius idea. It's about to be a monster ad, right? And for some reason, bro, it just sometimes goes down. Like most times it goes down like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times it really has to do with the energy. So I don't know what it is, but when things click, right? 100%. So when I did that, that's when I realized, because then right away, bro, I started getting leads. And then like, I remember to this day, I could still do it. Like, cause I don't run ads right now just cause I'm actually
Sure.
cold calling. I like to like hit the dials. But it was like 5, 6 leads a day, right? So they're not all good leads, but it's still like at least a lead or two a day where you were like, so
Yeah.
I stacked some bread that way. I made like 22 G's. I had stacked some bread with options trading, put away a tiny. So my thing was I started buying some collectibles too.
Oh, really?
So, just holding
What
on
kind
to
of
things like
collectibles?
that. Super Nintendo games specifically is
Oh,
what I fell
nice.
onto. So I had
Freaking
met a
love that.
seller in Oregon who had a box of them, and I got them for like $300, bro. It was like I made like 2 grand, something like that, off all those games.
Oh,
So just like
nice.
I had this bread, and so I was like, okay, like it's now or never. It's literally now or never. Like I have no excuses at this point. And so I told my parents, bro, like imagine that. Now it was a little weird, right? Because it's like, hey, I'm leaving the business, and it is what it is, right? Luckily all that we figured it out. It like got at work. So that was in March, where I'm like, hey man, I'm
Okay.
pretty much like, I'm pretty much set where I know where I'm about to be. So my dad's like, okay, cool, and then he hits me around like, when was it? It was like May, where he was like, I'm thinking about wrapping up the store there, and it's true. I've noticed like there's been like slower growth in the town as well. They closed down some mills. So my dad's like,
Oh,
oh man, I've been thinking about closing down too, and so I'm in my head like, wow, like that was well, like my dad got to walk out. I got to walk out. To me, it was just like I said, got out work. So the three
yeah.
years that I didn't pull the trigger, I feel like it was just perfect. Like it lit that perfect fire. It just opened my eyes at the right time.
Yeah,
But
dude.
yeah, so now but I've bounced between direct to agent, direct to seller, and stuff, trying to pick one. But honestly, like I've learned, so long as you're just talking to sellers, or even agents, I think agents is probably easier than talking to sellers. You can talk to more agents than sellers, probably. You know.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
For sure, but yeah, so long as you're talking to sellers every day, bro, and being telling you like, oh no, I'm not selling my house. Nice, we're
Yeah.
close to the next one.
Click.
Yeah,
Nice,
so that's
dude.
pretty much the mindset I'm trying to carry with that. You know what I mean? Just because it hasn't been easy though, bro. Like for real, I felt like when the year started, I was like, okay, it was smooth, and then it wasn't. But then a lot of it came to mindset. I learned that too. I was like, man, I'm trying to take control of everything when I'm supposed to just do my job. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah.
I can't control how people feel or what they do, and I just got to deal with it when it comes up. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
for
There's so
sure.
many uncontrollables in life, dude. that it's crazy how much people can spend on that. And we've all been there. Like there's still times that something will come up and I'll find myself catching bad energy, like thinking about something too much. And then I'm like, what am I doing?
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
will
man.
really slow you down. And so, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so that's pretty much my little story on how I even got into real estate, bro. Like really just, and honestly, how did I get into sub too? I just saw the ad one day. I had money from like unemployment and all this stuff. So I was like, dude, like it's like the same thing. I don't know what but I need to do it now. It was just one of those feelings where I was like, I just need to do this and deal with it
yeah.
later. And it's
Yeah.
the best decision I ever made, bro. Sub two, literally best decision I have ever made.
Yeah. Dude.
It
Yeah.
should have been easier than it was. It should have been an easier decision than I made it out to be also, for real.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, dude, it's unreal the people that we can connect with in there and the continuous resources that get poured into us. It's pretty awesome.
Right. And the
Yeah.
people, so, Pace setting that standard of just like being a go-giver, even that alone is just a whole different mindset for people,
Yeah. Yeah.
when we're all like go-getters and all this stuff, like, nah. So I love sub two, bro. It's definitely different, you could just feel it immediately.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's palpable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know a bunch of that stuff. So
Yeah, man.
I knew you did music and I knew you were doing trading recently. I didn't know you've been doing it for that long.
Oh yeah, I've been trading since literally when the crash started. I knew, like, I didn't know nothing
Oh yeah,
about stocks, but I knew
yeah.
you had to get into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at that time,
Yeah.
you could have threw a dart and made money.
Yeah.
And so that was toxic, bro. So imagine, yeah, man, my way down was terrible, but that's when I took classes after that, buy courses and stuff to really learn it, because
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because, I bought into certain things like some of the
Mhm.
airlines and certain, retail and things like that tanked, and then I waited for it and I made a decent amount of money on that. It wasn't anything crazy, but then I got I don't know, cocky or whatever, and I started, and then I was playing like Dumb Money,
Got it. Yeah,
like I
it's
just watched
tough
that
not to.
movie. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
No, I
Have you
haven't.
seen
No.
Dumb Money? Oh, you should
Uh-uh.
watch it. It's about
Oh, yeah,
GameStop
okay.
and the whole Wall Street bets thing.
Love
Yeah.
that. Yup.
Yeah, you should
See, that's the
definitely watch
thing, bro. Let me tell you. So at that time, that GameStop trade, I had a buddy who was like doing trades and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Now that was on my way. Like, what was that? 2021. I don't think that was quite 2020, right?
Yeah.
So all I know is
Yeah, it
at
was a
that
little
time,
later.
I had already tanked a little bit, right? So I had a rule. I was like, oh, I don't put up, more than like $200 on one single trade, kind of thing, like,
Mm.
or one contract, as they call it. And so this GameStop trade that my buddy put up was $233. I didn't even forget the number, bro. $233 just to see it 2 days later go to 30,000. Oh man, it was because it was an option contract, right?
Oh, it was an option. Okay.
Yeah, it was an option
Yeah.
contract. So man, that was crazy.
Dude. Yeah, so I'm still I know like the high level of options and then like the calls and the puts and things like that, but like it sounds like you took some courses and you really studied up on it. But like I see your story blowing up with your like, you're looking at the candlesticks and everything. That's way past what I do. Or
Right.
what I
Yeah.
understand at this point,
I do try to dumb it down. Like, yeah, I could see how like seeing all that is like crazy looking, right? But it's because it's me like backtrack and stuff. But like honestly, it really is pretty simple to trade. Honestly. But so one thing I would say is I like to swing trade, right? So swing trading is literally like from a day to another day. So I'm not
Okay.
gonna like day trade. I'm not if I am in a day trade, it's because it hit my target in one day, right?
Gotcha.
But like I'm never really in there to just be in there and be in and out, because that is how I've lost my money.
Okay.
When I wait for where I'm like, oh man, like let's say I want it to go down, or a put, as you called it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, so it hit the top. It's been, getting denied. It's not going past. We're going down. But let me check all the other things. If it checks out, I'll do it. And then I'll do like a long contract so I pay more, but it's safer. There's just, there's been a lot of things I learned on the way down that helped me on the way up, for sure. Right
Yeah.
now, my thing
Yeah.
has been sitting on my hands has made me more money than not. You know what I mean?
Oh, really? Yeah.
I'd rather take
Nice.
a trade twice a month, honestly. Like to me,
Mm,
that's ideal. Like 2 or 3 times a month, take the trade and close it, a week or two later kind of thing. Yeah.
nice. Yeah. Yeah. It's
But yeah, I
definitely,
just trade the SPY, the S&P. Sorry, not to cut you off like that. But just
oh,
so
you're
people
good.
know, like what I actually trade is just that I just trade the S&P 500.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty much.
you don't go after any like specific individual company or anything.
No, like sometimes like I'll look at like big stocks, right? Like Disney and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But pretty much I try not to go too hard, just because I'll think about it too much, man.
Yeah.
I'll be
Yeah.
like here at home, like, ooh, what's gonna happen with, it's just too
You get that
much.
itch, man. You want to start doing
Yeah,
more, and you get a win, and then you want to stack it, and that's how you get in trouble. Like just like when you're
correct.
in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. You see, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've been pretty good at the casino too, but it's like that because if I win 20, I'm out of there. I'm like, okay, well, I have fun.
That takes
You know what I mean?
discipline, dude.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
takes crazy discipline.
yeah. I
Especially
also
like
had a friend though, who lost it during casino, so
yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's I can like I think too, if I go back to Vegas or when I go back to Vegas, it's like if you're there for a weekend, it's so hard to just like step away and like, okay, well, I guess I'll put it into, like you then you start trying, you're like, I'll try this game or I'll try that. So that's
Yeah.
what kind of, like I don't know.
Like you
I'm a
said, you
roulette
start
guy.
trying. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. I've never played roulette ever. Me, it's just like blackjack. That's where I win.
Yeah.
You know.
I used to be solely on blackjack pretty much. And I was in, it was Reno, with a couple of buddies. And dude, I just was on this huge losing streak. And so I just went over to roulette, tried it out. And I was learning it, same thing, like you learn by losing. And so I was losing a little bit, but then like I would hit a single number and it would be like a 30 times
Mm.
return. So then I would get my money back. And then I was like, oh, I like this.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know it was like that. Yep.
Yeah. So you're working at the restaurant, you did, like it sounds like you were kind of morning time. So nighttime was really when you were working, like
Well, no,
on the side
really.
hustle.
Yes and no. That was a tough part, bro. It's like so when I was working at night, it was like late, late. So because the restaurant, I mean, not
Mm.
at the restaurant, right? So we would close like 8 p.m. But that
Uh-huh.
means like I'm at home at 9, and that's when the grind kind of starts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so with the seller grind, I couldn't do it just in case I was like
Right.
on break or something. You know.
Right. Right.
But still,
Yeah.
I
So
still got some reps in for sure.
yeah, nice. And
Mhm.
so now uh you're doing wholesaling, mostly direct to agent, right? But you're doing a little bit of direct to seller.
Actually, the other way around. So I'm
Oh,
doing.
okay.
So it's funny, like a little bit of all, bro, because I did turn ads on like for a week, and I'm working like it's probably going to be a
Okay.
deal. Actually, no, no, no. That's actually the one that we were working on in Denton, right? Where we talked about it. Might not, but it's like things like that where I'm like, I have one
Oh,
from
sure.
that. And then direct to agent, there's one in Tumwater that I'm kind of working on. But direct to seller to me, what I didn't like about direct to agent is I hate having to pitch. Like
Yeah.
after a while, I'm just like, dang, bro, like I'm tired and I'm not trying to feel tired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Totally.
on the phone, at least you just like, sure, you get told no, you just move on. But most of the time, I'm just like chilling, watching piano or something. You know,
Nice.
just like yeah, just in there, just hanging out. But it's not to
Nice.
me. Yeah, direct to agent is a lot of pitching. So if you can deal with that, if you're cool with just like, but honestly, you probably don't even have to do as much work direct to agent. Like if you were to call direct to agent 3 hours versus direct to seller for 3 hours, you'll probably get a lot more leads direct to agent, but it's a lot more energy. You know?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I wonder, like, when you think about it, I mean, if you start just looking at it at a base level, you've got a lead as an agent. It's not always really a lead because by the time you actually like submit an offer and like go through it, then they come back. Like we've had it tons of times where it's like, well, actually the seller will need this. Like you think that they think they know what the seller wants. You kind of have to trust that they're telling you what the seller wants, and then you submit an offer and they come back and they're like, actually they need more money down, or like they're really hung up on the price or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
versus a
Right.
seller, like when they're telling you, at least they're telling you what they what they know, right? Like it's direct
Right.
to it. So
And you can
that's a
actually
positive.
get to it. Yeah, just how
Right.
you said. Yeah.
Yeah. So direct to seller, you ran ads for a little bit. What's your other lead source for direct to seller?
Just ads and cold calling. So I got Mojo Dialer. So the thing is, I've been a proponent of dude. I got two of these of iPhone all days, right? Because like I said, so when you send a text to an agent from a blue bubble versus the green bubble, trust me, bro, the realtor with the blue bubble will text you first. But you can't do that direct to seller because you're not making 30, 40 calls, 50 calls. You're making 200, 300 calls. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
And it's crazy talk. You can't do that, not from my iPhone. So yeah,
Yeah.
lately I've
Yeah.
actually introduced that. Like I got the dialer now, so I've been going direct to seller with lists, like pulling. I don't usually do that. Usually, like if I was doing cold calling,
Yeah.
like the only cold calling I've done was with like start what you call it in
Start virtual, the
yeah, yeah.
VAs, or
Right. Like I've
yeah.
always had it outsourced. But like a lot of the reason, bro, the truth is because I was scared. And so once I got direct to agent, I'm good at direct to agent, and then now I'm confident. And the truth is I'm confident. It's just in this business, I don't know why in the beginning, bro, it's like since I know it was the thing that was gonna work, like I just would come up with ideas on why it wouldn't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's sad. But it's the
I
truth,
do know what you mean.
Yeah.
A little too
So,
much.
but yeah, direct to seller though it's been chill. I like it. It's a lot more
Yeah.
dialing, but to me, and it's also like you're getting deals that not everybody's already hitting up to. That's really
Yeah.
where it's really
Yeah.
made it attractive to me.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people in
So,
sub too.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were talking about expired listings a few weeks ago. Have you
Hmm.
kept
Yes.
with that at all too? Are you
Yeah.
like finding
So
an agent to partner with?
I found an agent in Florida. So the only problem with that list, but I figured out it's not a problem, right? But expireds, you usually got to call them like right when the list goes live, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But dude, I'm
Hold
on
on.
the West Coast.
I want to
Uh-huh.
back up really quick. Let's for people listening, expired
Sure.
listings, just so you know, are when a seller has a property listed on the market and they either cancel the contract or it expires and they haven't renewed their contract with an agent yet. So that's just essentially what we're trying to say is the agent didn't do their job of selling it on market in their time of contract, and now they're in a point of they have to make a decision. Do they go to another agent? Do they renew? Or do they hold on to the property? And so our goal during an expired listing call is to say, hey, we're an actual buyer. We can buy your home directly. We don't need the agent. We don't we can get you out of that property if that's what you want. And at the end of the day, if they want to sell with us, they can. If they want to go relist, we can always direct them to a partner agent, somebody that we have a good relationship with. So that way we know that we're taking care of them some way or another.
Right. And so like how you said, right, you partner up with a realtor. That's the best part. So he went a step further. Instead of just giving me a list, bro, he gave me the login, right? So like maybe I'm going too
Oh,
far and letting
dude,
people
that's
know,
awesome.
but he hooked it up. And so that's literally the deal. It's like, look, I'm calling these numbers and the ones that like don't, I can't buy, they're gonna list. The only problem that I've had recently is since they've listed is they usually have those little like the period after it was listed,
Uh-huh.
like the whatever that's called. So they're still technically in contract with the realtor.
Mm,
Right. So I can't get like this realtor that I'm teamed up with on certain of those so far.
sure.
But yeah, I officially got that list. That was cool. But
Nice.
yeah, the only issue I've had is you do got to call them early. That's
Yeah.
Florida. I'm on the West Coast. I get up around 5:36, but I'm not calling until like 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That way I'm at least up and not sounding like dead on the phone.
Yeah. Right.
You know, for sure.
Totally.
But yeah,
Yeah,
for
dude.
sure. I have
So,
gotten the expired listings. That's a great list, dude. It's a good list. I actually have like two leads, one in Orlando. It's like a nice little land lot. Doing
oh,
some seller
nice.
financing, still negotiating that. But yeah,
Nice.
and that was just off maybe 200 calls, 100 calls. That it was like and that was easy,
So
for
you're
sure.
using the Mojo dialer for those, right?
Mojo dialer. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
Cool.
using the triple line, but I turned it down to 2 because like a lot of people call back and you miss calls and stuff. So I'm like with 2,
Oh, okay.
it was like the perfect sweet spot for me where I can still do callbacks and not feel like I'm just skipping people. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Yeah. It's the only thing where I'm like, I wish the iPhone we could figure something out, dude. If we could figure out like the caller with the iPhone, like I thought of it. I was like, man, if somebody could make a call center for iPhones only, that's a you could charge a crazy premium for that, bro. You know what I mean?
I
Because
like it.
the conversion would probably be nuts, but it might not be. It might not be that nuts also, right? Who knows?
It's
That's
hard
the
to say
risk.
unless you try it.
Right. Like I know you'll get a text back, but when it comes to calls and stuff, like sometimes I'm just like,
Yeah, it
dude,
might not hit the same. Yeah.
right. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and you
So
can't just go texting anybody.
right. But I have seen the
Yeah.
power in that. There's another lead in Florida that I was working on from that expired list
Yeah.
that since I can't text from Mojo, I paid Lead Mining Pros $72, right? To hit up like 500 of these people and I got like 4 leads back. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
to me, I'm like, now I understand. Okay, definitely not all the leads are going to want to talk because one of those leads actually that I did text from
Uh-huh.
that, I called them, they didn't pick up, so I texted them, and they were texting me back like nobody's business. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
wow. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I get it. Some people might just be a little shy on the phone. Actually, I have a friend who was like that, for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So yeah. So I just seen that. I was like, man, I'd love to learn
Nice.
how to do texting better, but ever since the A2P stuff got introduced and all that, I just like didn't,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. We do texting to agents, but that's different because they're technically a business. So, I feel
Okay.
comfortable doing it that way, even though it's a
Right.
green bubble, we still get decent interaction with people, um,
Okay.
but yeah, it is a concern of like shifting over to expired when you're talking to sellers and when like we're not going to do that cold outreach on text. It will be calls, and then if they want to have continued conversation and it's text back and forth, then it's okay. But yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Gotcha. Yep. Yep.
Um, so wholesaling, I mean, you've kind of gave your history with it. It's hard because it can be hit and miss, right? Like you're a one man operation
Absolutely.
pretty much, and
Hmm.
so to be able to stay consistent with it, it can be challenging, and you're doing things like you're trying different things, so you're like getting your sweet spot of like, okay, this is how I get consistent deal flow. So that's awesome. But
It's also a
yeah,
problem though, because like I feel like, let's say I stuck on Facebook ads, it would have
uh-huh.
worked. It's gonna work. If you stick to direct to agent, it's gonna work. And
Just got to put
all of
in the
it
reps.
works.
Yeah,
Correct. Right. All of
yeah,
it works. And so
yeah.
me, like part of me, I get bored easily too. So sometimes like, yeah, maybe that's why I be bouncing between direct to agent. But so long as I'm talking to people that, want to sell, it works. But
Sure.
direct to seller, yeah, it's let me sit down more because it just takes more time. Like you
Yeah,
definitely can't go direct to seller for 45 minutes to an hour. You can't do that, you know,
yeah, yeah.
because you might not even connect with somebody that wants to sell for about 45 minutes to an hour.
Totally. Yeah.
Direct to agent is dope. I feel like if you're new, yeah, probably direct to agent. It kind of sucks though because it kind of ruins it for the vets out there trying to kill the deals. They just have to work a little bit harder. But it's true. Like direct to agent. I mean, you're dealing with realtors who have to pick up the phone pretty much. Like
Yeah.
it's not like going to be like sellers that will, hey, is this Martin? And it could be Martin. And he's like, no, this is Robert. And all of a sudden, it's a bad contact, even though I was talking to the seller the whole time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's where direct to
Yeah.
agent is a lot better. Like you do build great relationships, like from the direct to seller, from direct to agent. I've had like a couple pocket listings pop up, like no deals, but definitely just relationships.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
So, you might be bouncing around, but right now you're kind of finding what works for you best. And I did
Right.
that too, like I was door knocking and doing like pre-foreclosures at first, and then calling agents, and then I was doing God, I can't remember what else I've done, but now I'm like kind of
Yeah.
focused in on direct to agents. We've got the system in place, letting that run, and now we're gonna now we're ready to like roll in expired as like an additional piece, but not letting up on the agent piece. And
Love that.
so I think it's perfectly fine to like go try what works for you, but
Yeah.
you're right though, like you can risk getting shiny object syndrome like crazy and continuing to
Yeah.
just try and try and try instead of just sticking with one and going all in.
Right. You ever seen that meme with it has the diamonds on the other side of the wall, the guy's mining through it and he's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this far? Dude, I think of that all the time. Anytime I don't want to call or anything like that, it literally pops in my head because I'm like, how many times also have I not wanted to call and I get a lead? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But
Well,
that's also that little spiritual part where I talk about it's like,
yeah, yeah.
straight up.
Well, I kind of want to, I want to kind of get into that more because, like, not just spiritual, but like the mindset and everything.
Mhm.
You hit on it at the beginning, but like on a deeper level, you know, I kind of want to go back to when you were like just getting started and thinking about the Google search, how to make an
Okay.
extra $1,000 or how to, make 100 grand a month or whatever.
Mhm.
Like that's the first step, but there's so much more to it. Like, you've stuck with it. You've tried different things, but you've stuck with the goal and like the end goal in mind, right? So like
Right. Well, you do
that,
have to know your why. That's
yeah,
number one. Like you can't just say I want to be rich or I want to help my family or stuff like that. Like let it be what your goal is. It has to be yours. I'm gonna tell you my goal,
yeah,
and
I want to hear it.
it's funny, it's whatever, but to me it's legit. So I want to hit up all the Disney theme parks and all the Universal Studios in the world, like all of them. So to me, I'm like, and that's where I realized I'm like, oh, I want to be rich, not famous, right? So I used to do
Sure.
music to get rich, but then I was like, wait, dude, I can't travel Disney and do all this crazy stuff and blah blah blah. So to me, it's God at work introducing real estate in my life and all this stuff. Because I like when I was doing music, I did go pretty hard, and I still do. But it's just like to me, it's just God at work, right? Introducing real estate, and
Yeah.
where was I getting at with this, bro? I got lost in the sauce right there.
Well, you're going to
Um,
all of the theme parks. And you're
right,
taking your
that's the
kids, right?
goal. Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
been it's funny. My oldest, I had to talk with her about that. I'm like, lucky you,
Yeah.
like definitely next year I have a plan tripped out already because they have a theme park opening in Florida. Another one,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I'm like, we're there.
That's the Nintendo one, right?
Yeah, it's
Is
called
it?
Epic Universe. They
Oh,
have
okay.
that there, and they got like 5 different worlds. Like,
Oh,
yeah, I
yeah,
could
that's
nerd out
awesome.
on stuff like that. Because yeah, and ultimately, I'd like to get into like I'd like to retire and have my fingers like and have my hands in a ride. You know what I mean? Whether
Yeah.
it be designing or music design or something. You know, I'd like
Yeah.
to leave like something on a ride, like a legacy kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
That's cool.
So it's interesting, right? So probably not something
Yeah.
you'd expect from me, but it's definitely like that's why I'm like have your why, and have it for real, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like how specific it was, like, and yeah, it's like I wasn't expecting that particularly, but there's more to it than just like the theme park. Like you have your family that you're going with and like you're traveling the world and like it's just
Correct.
tied to that theme park, which is a badass time to, like go and hang out with the
Everyone's
family and
happy at
everything.
the theme park. Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know
As long as you got the money to do it, but that's your why,
exactly.
right? So you have to earn the money to be able to go and
Yeah, yeah,
like make your dreams come true, right? So
yeah. Imagine just going and roughing it out. Like that's no fun. Yeah,
nah,
yeah, yeah. But
yeah,
that's why
I've
I'm
done
like,
that.
you got to have your why and definitely have it strong. Because I go back to that. Yeah, bro. Like I said, I go back to those thoughts. I'm like Disney, theme parks. Disney so much I don't support it now, but the theme parks, I love the theme parks, bro. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely like, I think about that a lot for sure.
Yeah, totally.
You know.
Nice. So definitely have your why. And then step 2 for you, like what's the next step to actually move towards that goal?
Just do the work, honestly. So One quote that really helped me out is success is behind the work you don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's true, like I said, most times you don't want to do something, you do it, you feel good, all this stuff. But you just have to do the work. So like, let's say, right, you're like, oh, I need to get a deal, but I don't want to call sellers. Why?
Yeah.
Right? What else do you got to do? Okay, well, and then that's when you can ask those questions. Oh, well, maybe I can transaction coordinate, blah, blah, blah. But let's say you don't have no excuses. Call sellers. Don't, get a list. Get a list, call sellers one by one. Yeah, you don't got triple line, 10 line it, one by one. Get the reps in. There's no way around it. You know what I mean? So that's something
Yeah.
I've learned is definitely just do the work. You know,
Yeah.
there's no way around it. You can't fake the hard work. So I learned that in music, bro. When like people started like giving me a little attention, at that point I had already done some like a lot of work, and so that's another moment where you realize I'm like, all like you can't fake that. You can't fake that stuff. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And that
So
goes for everything. Like
correct. Yeah.
getting the reps in is part of the process, right? Like you have to eat shit to and
Oh yeah.
fail forward and take imperfect action, all those things that people talk about. Like it's all true. Like you have to go through it and really struggle in that time, but push through. Like you said earlier, the meme with the guy and digging or going for diamonds, right? And it's like just right there,
Right.
and it's like you got to just keep going.
Dude, you could be that close. Anybody hearing this, you got a call you
Yeah.
ain't made or something like that, haven't sent an email or you waited to send an offer, dude, tripping, bro. Because even like, I mean, we all fall short, bro. I had what was something recently? Actually, no, but I had a deal in the Tomater deal, right?
Uh-huh.
I hadn't followed up with the realtor, because they had we pretty much not had a falling out, but the deal fell out, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
kind of like that.
Yeah.
One day I decided to follow up, and then lo and behold, a week later she calls me that her deal fell apart. So now it's back in play. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, man, you got to just do the work sometimes and keep it simple. Keep it all the way simple, dude. Like don't overcomplicate it. Don't make a million hoops to jump through,
Yeah. That's honestly, that's part of my problem sometimes is I'm so system oriented or like process oriented where, even like, for example, this freaking podcast, like I had the idea back in October of like the name and what I wanted it to be about and all that. I stopped. I prioritized other things, and then somebody like kind of kicked it in gear and did it. Like somebody that I know, he started his own podcast and like got it up and running in 2 weeks and like had 3 interviews. And I was just like, fuck, I need to put my ass in gear. And
Love it.
I did a lot of work to do it, but like I could have started way sooner if I would have not done like some of the process things. Like you went through it, like you filled out a form, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to keep things organized, and like get it just right for like whoever's going to be a guest and this and that. And like, that's great. Like when you're big time and everything, like I didn't need to do
Right. Or like a big guest or something where you got to be careful where he goes on the rails, Yeah, yeah.
that. Yeah.
No, I feel
Yeah.
you though. Yeah, we all do it. That's what like we all fall short. Nobody's perfect, We all fall short. But
Yeah.
but you do have to remind yourself that, dude. Like that's where who doesn't fall as short, right? Is how many times do you remind yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
Nice,
Especially
dude.
like I said, me, I'm trying to still figure out like my thing was just figure out my schedule, right? As soon as schedule is pretty much figured out. Because actually, bro, when I got sick, I feel like I got sick because of that whole schedule change. Like trying to get up
Mm.
early when I'm going to bed. I've been going to bed late. I'm a musician, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So getting back into that was just crazy, but it's best thing I could have done,
Yeah. Nice.
for sure.
So what's your goal for wholesaling this year? Like how many deals are you looking to do?
I'm trying to build like a system or pretty much a system where I got like 5 to 6 deals a month. That's literally my goal. So if like
Okay.
by December I'm not closing 5 or 6 a month, I'm gonna be not salty, but that's my goal. You know what I mean? So if like 3 or 4 happens, sure, I'll be like I'm always thankful. But I
Sure.
want 5 or 6 because I know I'm like, listen, 5 or 6 means about a week, a contract a week, more than a contract a week, right?
Yeah.
That's real
Yeah.
hustling. To me, I'm like, that's real getting it. That's where I'm trying to be. So that's where I'm trying to figure it out while, keeping myself not too busy because, I also do have mental health, right? We all got to take
Yeah,
care of our
yeah,
mental health, right? So for
totally.
sure, it's, trying to keep, but that's why I feel like I got lucky with music because it's work, but it's really not, bro. It's like my fun, you
Yeah,
know?
that's your fun. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Mhm.
started, I mean, you see the guitars back there. I've had those since high school, and I've had years and like waves of times that I play and don't play and this and that. And I forced myself, not really forced myself, it was just kind of an idea I just came up with, like, to kind of settle my nerves before going on and recording, because it's all new and I'm nervous and everything. I just play for 15 minutes before jumping on here so that I can
Mm,
relax. And so it's like a habit stacking for me to just get back into it and play a little bit just to have fun and like just jam a little bit, mess around.
right, lighten you up a little bit. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what you said about 5 to 6 deals a month by December. So, a couple things.
Right.
One, I'm gonna call you out. You said I'm gonna try to. You're gonna fucking do
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Mindset.
Yes.
Good
Appreciate that.
energy. Put that back in. Number
Absolutely.
two is, one of the uh, I gotta remember the book. I was listening to Ed Milet podcast a couple months ago, and he had an author on that was talking about. He wrote a book about how to 10x is easier than 2x. Like 10x your business is easier than 2x, and basically the gist of it is, you look at what is that 10x goal that you really want. So, like, if you're saying 5 to 6 deals a month is your 10x goal, what is it really like? Start there and reverse engineer it, dude. Like, what do I need
Hmm.
to have in place? Like right now we're kind of working together where you're throwing a deal my way to like underwrite or like, see if a lead and see if it works for you. But is
Hmm.
that going to be consistent enough for you to do 5 to 6 deals? Am I the right
Right.
person? And not throwing myself out, but at the same time, like, if I'm not the right person, maybe for now it works, but to get you to 5 to 6 deals, you're going to need somebody that's going to be ready to go in with you all in and be full time and all that stuff. Like, kind of breaking down each piece of
Mm.
the business, the roles and things like that. Like,
And I
you've,
haven't even, I haven't thought like that because it's true. You're right. I mean, for sure. Yeah,
yeah,
because the underwriting. So the good thing about, bro, you've came through on that. So the crazy part that surprised me. So people underwrite. But what was dope when you underwrote is you gave me like options. You're like, this is the play, but here's what could also be a play. Where it literally, I was
sure.
like, damn, never thought of that. You know what I mean? So, but I
Yeah.
feel you.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely little things like that. Like definitely have TCs in the corner, right? We all do, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
But it's those things, yeah, definitely where I'm like, we're lucky to be in SubTo that we do have access to people like that.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah.
bro, I agree with you. Like my biggest thing is lead gen, but I try not to burn out on lead gen. So
Sure.
because when the Facebook ads hit, that's still like, let's say we're doing 5 leads a day. By the end of the week, that's
Yeah.
25 leads, and we had to underwrite them. But this was before I
Right.
was talking to you
Right.
about it. It's like I had to underwrite them and then try not to forget. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because some sellers just take time, bro. Last week they act different next week, right?
Yep. Yep.
And so that's a game I had to learn also. Once I consistently was like following up and stuff. But yeah, it's a lot of learning. Even still, I'm not even gonna act like I know it all. I learn all the time, bro.
Totally.
For
Yeah.
sure,
Every day, dude. you think
absolutely,
you you think you got something and then you get kicked down and you're like, shit, why didn't I think of that? Or
dude. Something simple, even simple today. Like I was calling a seller and it said like whatever the name was, and it wasn't the person. So I was like, "Do you know them?" And
yeah.
it was his. That was the son I was talking to. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And normally I'm just like, "Oh, okay, I'm just trying to get through calls," right?
yeah.
But just that little thing, I was like, "Oh man!" So now I'm always asking, "Well, do you know the person?" Okay, I don't. Okay, do you happen to have a property for sale too? No, I don't, because I
Yeah.
actually met a wholesaler the other day by doing that. He's like, "Are you a wholesaler?" I'm like, "Yes, absolutely." He goes, "Oh, that's fine, because I got something we could JV on in Fort Worth or something like that." So
Oh, nice.
I've yet to get it yet, but still, I'm like, just those little things that you learn as like you go,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Totally.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, dude. We should connect more about the 10x thing. You know,
Yeah.
like, figure out how to build out like a roadmap of what that looks like and the pieces of the puzzle that you got to get into place. That's like we're working on that in our group right now. Like it's not fully mapped out, but we're like I was talking to you earlier. I think it was before we started recording, but we were talking about how um, I'm doing direct to agent, but that's just phase one, right? Like we're
Right.
just fine tuning it right now. We have a VA that is helping with that. We have automations that we're continually adjusting and workflows that, uh, really help with that follow up part of it. And so it's like, so that for me and for my partner, Jason, who's like doing the closing, he can be a little bit less hands-on at that during the day unless a lead actually comes through. Then he's like jumping on it, but that allows
Right.
him the time to go handle expired listings, which is phase two. So phase one, we got direct to agent. Phase two, we've got expired listings. Down the road, we'll do add in the Facebook leads and things like that. And each one we're going to just tackle really one at a time, be precise with how we do it, and build out the system so that we can scale to that same thing. And that's our goal essentially too, is like 5 to 6 like direct deals a month.
Mm-hmm.
But then we also want to be a supporter in Dispo as well, and JV with people. So we want to also have some JV deals come in too, so that it gets us into like a 10 deal a month kind of range.
Yeah, I love JV, bro. If I could JV all my deals, I would, because it just makes it so easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every person I've JV'd with has been the lifesaver of the deals I've done. Straight up, Like
Nice.
yeah, there was a deal in Colorado, which was a crazy roller coaster deal. JV'd on that one. And then another crazy one, like bro, barely got it to the finish line. Was with another side. It was like Alabama. I forgot where it was, but yeah, I had to
Yeah.
JV on that one. And I also learned the expression during that one because the first JV actually ended up getting us paid more. And
Oh,
he told
nice.
me it's better to have half a watermelon than a whole grape. I'm like,
Yeah.
facts,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. I
So,
kind of use that one a lot too. It's like, you
yeah,
know,
dude,
yeah,
exactly. It was, so that's why I'm like, I would love to just lead gen. Y'all take care of the dispo, lead gen. I love talking to sellers, you know what I mean?
sure.
Talking to
Yeah.
buyers too, though. Just talking to people in general is pretty cool, but it just gets hard to manage when you do like all
Yeah.
sides, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You have
For
to,
sure.
it just takes time. And like, I'm obviously not there, but the people that are, like, they've put in years and years of each side of that. So then they can flip the switch on like what kind of conversation they have with each type of person, and they're just really
Right.
good at communication.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I've seen it for sure.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of coming up on time. I wanted to ask my random question of the show to you.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
So you're into music. I think you do hip hop, right?
Yeah, hip hop, R&B. I
Yeah,
produce, right, and I songwrite. So
yeah,
it's like I'm
yeah.
all over the place. I play piano, so I like classical music. Yeah.
Um, I was gonna say, who's like, if you had to choose one hip hop artist, or what to listen to for the rest of your life, what would it be, or
Dude,
who
people
would
are
it
gonna
be?
hate me for this. It would be Drake, bro. It would be
Oh
Drake.
man.
But here's why I'm so biased. When I was 16 years old, now mind you, here's how I discovered Drake. I had just heard of the guy from Degrassi put out some music. So I was like negative mindset kid, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm about to listen to this Canadian child star who thinks he can rap with Lil Wayne. Dude, I heard that song. It was Ransom featuring Lil Wayne, and I was
Yeah,
sold. I remember hearing that song and being like, oh, whoa, this is different. And that was just, so that was before he even blew up and before the So Far Gone mixtape came out. So
yeah.
I'm a super, super, super early Drake fan.
Nice.
But that's the only reason why, because I feel like I saw the whole thing. I was like on his blog spot waiting for the mixtape to drop.
Nice.
But but if it wasn't Drake, it'd be Jay-Z, because I love
Okay.
his flow. He's, business wise, obviously, like,
Sure.
50
Yeah.
Cent, business wise also, but definitely I'd put Jay-Z. But Drake, to me, just because I'm like, dude, who can sing and write. And you know, when you're number one, everybody hates you. So to me, it checks out. You know,
Yeah.
straight
Right.
up. Yeah,
Nice.
man.
Nice. No
But
hate,
yeah, it'd probably be
no
Drake.
judgment.
Yeah, dude. Who would you listen to? So let me ask you before I get off this. What's your favorite genre of music?
Um, God, it's always been kind of like rock and metal. You know, like I grew up really into 80s rock, like Metallica and Ozzy, Megadeth, Iron Maiden.
Who's your favorite?
But
Who's your favorite?
I would always have to lean back to Metallica. You know, out of
Okay.
all that, like they have a vast, and it'd have to be kind of old Metallica, honestly. Sorry guys, but the new stuff doesn't quite hit the same. Yeah,
Ain't that the truth with everything?
yeah.
You know,
But I
unless
do
it's
listen to a
Drake.
lot more. Yeah. Yeah, I do listen to a lot more now. Like I listen to a lot more hip hop, rap, and uh, just other genres for sure are in my liked songs now.
Nice, right on.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
it.
All right, man.
Thanks, bro.
Well,
But yeah,
thanks for jumping on. It was
I'm
great
gonna
chatting
plug
with
myself
you.
real quick if that's cool with
Yeah,
you.
yeah, of course.
So Ismael Arceo, you guys can find me on like Facebook and stuff. But Paige Turner is like my music. If you guys are curious, Paige Turner flows my social media too. So if you guys want to follow me, like I tap in with all my real estate people on that profile too. So you
Awesome.
know,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I've heard the music. When you're doing recording sessions and stuff, you guys should definitely check
Oh
them out.
yeah,
It's good.
please do.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Awesome. Thanks, dude. And yeah, it
Appreciate
was
you,
great
bro,
having you.
for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody else, we'll catch you on the next episode.